The flowers in today's video are not your ordinary backyard variety. From flowers fit for giants, to flowers that reek of death, to flowers that literally eat small animals. Join me as we take a look at 15 unique and unusual flowers. Number 15. The corpse lily. If you love flowers because of their floral fragrance, then you might want to steer clear of the corpse lily. Scientifically known as Rafflesia arnoldi, the corpse lily literally smells like death. When in bloom, this massive flower emits a scent akin to rotting meat. This is so it can attract flies and beetles, which it needs for pollination. But in addition to emitting a scent that's the opposite of what a flower should smell like, the corpse lily is also unusual for its size. This massive flower holds the record for the largest individual flower on Earth. A corpse lily measuring 17 inches in diameter was found in 1956 at Mount Sago in Sumatra. The flower is actually a parasite that grows exclusively on the vines of Tetrastigma. Massive in stature, a massively stinky flower, the corpse lily is one of the oddest and most unusual flowers on Earth. Number 14. Titan Arum. Behold the Titan Arum, another massive flower that looks like it belongs in the land of giants. The Titan Arum, or Amorphophallus titanum as it's scientifically called, is endemic to the rainforest of western Sumatra. However, this one-of-a-kind flower is also cultivated in gardens, where its bloom is a real showstopper. Why? Because this behemoth flower takes 4 to 10 years to bloom. And when it finally does bloom, it only does so for about 24 to 48 hours. The bloom is a major tourist attraction. Standing at an average height of 9.8 feet tall, the Titan Arum has the largest unbranched inflorescence of any plant on the planet. It also boasts massive energy reserves that allow it to heat up to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And like the corpse lily, the Titan Arum emits a scent of decaying flesh to attract pollinators. Because this flower is so massive, when it blooms, it blasts its disgusting scent upwards about a half a mile. So there's a good chance that anyone in the vicinity will smell it before they see it. Number 13. Hydnora Africana. Fans of the famous Nintendo franchise Mario Bros. Will rejoice in this next plant. The Hydnora Africana bears an uncanny resemblance to those annoying piranha plants in the Mario Bros. Games. But the resemblance doesn't just stop with the plant's appearance. Just as the piranha plants in the game rise out of the pipes to take a bite at Mario, real-life Hydnora Africanas rise out of the ground to trap beetles. These plants have very thick underground roots and no stems and no leaves, so the only part of the plant we see is the massive flower, which sits right on the ground. They trick the beetles into entering their petals by emitting an odor of feces. And once the poor, unassuming beetle has climbed its way onto the flower closes and traps the beetle for a couple of days to ensure the beetle picks up the pollen. The beetle is eventually released, and the flower then waits for the next beetle to come along. Number 12. The monkey face orchid. The monkey face orchid is a very enticing flower given its telltale monkey face. And while it may look like the face of this orchid was painted on by a skilled artist, the face is actually completely natural. Monkey face orchids can bloom in any season, and when they do, they feature several fragrant flowers that smell a lot like ripe oranges. And while there are actually quite a few different species of monkey face orchids, the most sought-after ones are Dracula simia and Dracula gigas. Dracula giga is the larger of the two, which is fitting since giga means giant. Both species of this unusual flower grow in cloud forests in Ecuador and Peru, and were identified in 1978 by a famous botanist. The petals can vary in color from red to pink to lavender to yellow and white. But no matter the color, they all boast that cute little monkey face in the center, making monkey face orchids a unique and whimsical addition to any ornamental garden. Number 11. The giant pelican flower. If you're looking for a flower that's big enough to cradle a small baby inside of it, then look no further than the giant pelican flower. Scientifically known as Aristolochia grandiflora, the giant pelican flower is one of the largest in the world, as well as one of the most visually stunning. This beautiful flower can grow to widths of 9.8 inches, which is a far cry from your standard backyard bouquet flower. The flower itself is heart-shaped and features a very long tail that can grow upwards of 24 inches long. The giant pelican flower is a lone, solitary flower, and it's native to the Caribbean and Central America, although it's been introduced to Florida. The flower features a dark center that's meant to attract its pollinators. and it's revered for its intricate and stunning ivory veins that run through the petals. Number 10. Venus Slipper Orchids. The stunning and unusual Venus Slipper Orchid has a mouthful of a scientific name: Paphiopedilum gratricinum. The plant boasts a caramel-colored flower with a magnificent white dorsal sepal. The sepal is blush pink and it's colored in purple spots. The Venus Slipper Orchid blooms in the fall and in the early spring. This lovely flower is native to Vietnam and Laos, where it grows in shady cliffs, steep mountainsides, and cloud forests. It can grow up to 12 inches tall, but like all lady slipper orchids, the Venus Slipper Orchid has a slipper-shaped pouch. The pouch acts as a trap for insects who like to climb in there, and once they do, they either deposit or collect the pollen to fertilize this rare and unique flower. Given the unusual appearance of this orchid, it's a popular choice for ornamental gardens, although like most orchids, it requires a little extra care and TLC to flourish. Number 9. Darwin Slippers. Darwin slippers are an unusual species of plant that resembles tiny little penguins marching across the rocks. The flower is named after Charles Darwin, who discovered it while exploring South America, but this lovely little flower is native to both Mexico and South America. Also known as the pocketbook flower, pouch flower, and slipperwort, Darwin slippers goes by the scientific name Calceolaria uniflora. It can reach a height of 4 inches, and the plant is ornithophilic, which means it's pollinated by birds. The pollinating bird in this case of the Darwin slippers is the least seed snipe, which can't resist parking in the sweet floral appendage of the flower because it's very high in sugars. While the little bird is munching down, its head taps the stigma of the flower, and this allows the bird to either collect or distribute the pollen while it sates its appetite. Number 8. The Juliet Rose. A rose by any other name may smell as sweet, but it won't cost as much. The Juliet Rose is often called the most expensive flower in the world, costing upwards of $5 million. Yep, $5 million. But even more shocking is that in 2006, the Chelsea Flower Show, one Juliet Rose sold for a staggering $15.8 million. That's more than Shakespeare's most expensive book. His first folio from 1623, the most expensive work of literature ever auctioned. That only sold for a mere $9.9 million. So while the rose may be named for the famous tragic heroine from Romeo and Juliet, the rose itself far exceeds the monetary worth of the actual play from whence it was named. This hybrid flower was created by famous rose breeder David Austin. It took him 15 years to create this lovely apricot-hued rose. It's revered for its full-cup, distinctive petals and its strong and pleasant peachy scent. The rose is oddly perfect in appearance and took an unusually long time to create, and is uniquely priced in the world of flowers, to say the least. Number 7. Purple Passion Flower. Passiflora incarnata, or the purple passion flower as it's more commonly called, is a bizarre-looking flower that looks akin to something you might find in the pages of a Dr. Seuss book. Known for its striking purpley-bluish blooms, the flower grows on vines that can reach 25 feet in length. This showy flower boasts wavy and crimped petals that give it a fringed appearance. They also have a pretty heavy symbolic meaning. Purple passion flowers are named for the Christian crucifixion story, which is also called the Passion. The flowers have 10 petal-like parts, which represent the 10 disciples who remained loyal to Christ, not including Judas and Peter. There are 5 stamens, which represents Jesus' 5 wounds. The stigmas, which are knob-like, represents the nails of the cross, and the filaments, which grow in a circle, represent Jesus' crown of thorns. In any case, religious or not, the purple passion flower's unusual appearance makes it an extremely unique and interesting one. Number 6. Dancing-themed flowers, dancing girls and ballerina orchids. There are some pretty odd-looking flowers out there, but even more unusual is that 2 completely different species of flowers both resemble dancing girls. The first are dancing girl flowers, which at first glance look like man-made children's toys twirling in the air. That's because dancing girl flowers resemble little girls in skirts with outreached arms. Dancing girl flowers are white or light pink and are very tiny, rarely growing more than half an inch across. They're also called busy lizzies because when their pods are ripe, they literally burst out and spew seeds. Dancing girl flowers are very rare and are native to rainforests of East Asia. Then there are the ballerina orchids, or Calladenia melanima. They are endemic to Western Australia and are one of the rarest orchids in the world. They were first observed in 2001 and are critically endangered now, with only 300 known plants existing today in the wild. Ballerina orchids are aptly named, given their resemblance to a little ballerina, complete with a white skirt and arms in a ballet fifth position. Number 5. Bee orchids. Flowers come in a lot of different colors, but who know they also came in cute? Because that's exactly what the little bee orchid is. It's cuteness all around. The bee orchid plants grow from 6 to 20 inches high, and they feature 3 large purple sepals, which are sometimes mistaken as petals. The actual flower, though, is the part that looks like the bee. But along with its cute appearance, bee orchids, or Ophrys athera, have another interesting feature. They're an example of Puyanian mimicry, which is a form of mimicry found in plants. They're pollinated by a long-horned bee called Eucera longicornis. To ensure its pollination, the flower is taken on both the appearance and the scent of a female bee to attract the male bee which does the pollinating. The male bee becomes confused, mistaking the flower for an actual female bee. The male bee then tries to copulate with the flower, and while he does, the pollen gets stuck to the male bee. He then flies away and distributes it. This whole process is called pseudocopulation and involves a pollinator trying to copulate with the flower. The poor little bee is none the wiser, and the sneaky flower achieves its ultimate goal of pollination. Number 4. Naked Man Orchid. The naked man orchid was once the choice of men who were looking for a little masculinity boost. Why? Because it was believed in ancient times that any plant or flower that resembled a body part or organ would actually benefit that particular body part or organ if it was digested. So eating a plant that looked like a heart would benefit the heart. And apparently eating a flower that looks like a naked man will benefit a naked man. So, naked man orchids were once eaten by men to increase their virility. Today, however, naked man orchids are more a source of amusement than they are an appetizer. And one look at this odd little flower, and it's not hard to see why people muse at their appearance. They literally look like a naked man. Some even have colorings that look like little faces, and some look like they're donning a hat or wavy purple hair. And if you look closely, you can even see the man part of these naked little men. Scientifically called Orchis italica, naked man orchids can be found in the Mediterranean regions, in Western and Northern Africa, and in Southeastern Europe. They bloom in April, and they grow in scrubby areas close to the coast. Number 3. Hot Lips Flower. The hot lips flower might not have moves like Jagger, but it apparently has his lips, which is why this unusual little flower is often commonly called Mick Jagger's lips. Its names don't stop there either. There's the much crasser hooker's lips flower, as well as the girlfriend's kiss, but no matter what you call it, one thing remains the same. This flower literally looks like lips. Naturally bright red and naturally shaped like actual lips, the hot lips flower plant is native to Central and South America, where it grows in the undergrowth of the rainforests. The plant can grow from 3 to almost 10 feet high, but just like human lips, the flower ranges in sizes and shapes. The flower used to be scientifically called Psychotria elata, but it's now called Pelicuria elata. While the lips look like petals, the lips are actually the leaves. The flowers themselves are tiny and white, although it would be so cool if they were shaped like teeth. But they're actually shaped like stars. The plant blooms from December to March, and oddly, the flowers have absolutely no scent. These hot lips flowers are in danger in the wild. Apparently, they were such a popular Valentine's Day gift that they were over-harvested, so it's back to roses and hot lips candy for Valentine's Day. Leave the wild lips alone. Number 2. Black Bat Flower. Images of bats can conjure up feelings of queasiness and dread, because let's face it, bats aren't exactly as beloved of some of the cuter and more cuddly animals on Earth. But whereas the sight of a bat may have some people running for the hills, seeing a black bat flower would cause most to take a pause. They're alluring, exotic, beautiful, and downright unusual. The black bat flower, or Taka chantrieri, with its mesmerizing color and look, draping whiskers, is a flower unlike any other. It was first described by André Edward in 1901, and since its discovery, it's captured the imagination and fancy of anthophiles the world over. The flower is native to regions of Southeast Asia, where it thrives in the understory of tropical rainforests. And like the mammals it was named after, bats, the black bat flower likes it dark and damp. The plant can grow to 12 inches across, with the whiskers called bracteoles reaching lengths of 28 inches. This flower is now a protected plant in China because overcollection has led to a decrease in its population. And if you like the unusual appearance of the black bat flower, then you'll also likely enjoy the equally stunning white bat flower, which has a similar shape but much more floral appearance because it comes in a more standardized flower coloring of white and purple. Of the two, though, the black bat flower is more unusual because very few flowers on Earth are naturally black. Number 1. Tropical pitcher plant. While the tropical pitcher plant is not a single species of flower, I would be amiss if I didn't include this extraordinary flower on this list. Why? Because this plant eats small frogs, rodents, and lizards. Prey of this unusual plant are attracted to the mouth of the pitcher. The mouth leaves a trail of nectar by way of its nectar-secreting glands. The prey are attracted to that and climb into the mouth of the pitcher. But the throat of the pitcher is very smooth, and this causes the poor, unknowing prey to slide down the throat to the bottom of the pitcher. At the bottom of the pitcher is a liquid pool. The prey then drowns in this liquid pool and dies. From there, the body of the prey is digested by enzymes secreted within the leaf. So basically, this bizarre plant actually eats small reptiles and other assorted prey. And while this is horrifying by every standard and extremely fascinating, the plants also are strangely beautiful. The sweet pitcher plant, for example, boasts stunning red flowers. The crimson pitcher plant has lovely scarlet flowers, and the yellow pitcher plant displays bright yellow flowers. There are more than 100 species of tropical pitcher plant, all of which are oddly beautiful, and all of which are equally deadly. But the rarest tropical pitcher plant is Nepenthes clipiata. It only grows in almost vertical cliffs of Mount Kilam in Kalimantan, Borneo. In fact, it's so rare that there are only about 15 plants in the wild as of 1995. In any case, whether it's the super rare or one of the more common species, the tropical pitcher plant is hands down one of the most unique and one of the most unusual flowers around, which is why it's bloomed its way into the top spot on this list. Watch our nature playlist for more top 15 videos about beautiful nature. Sit back, relax, and binge watch all of our best nature videos.